hard. Human drama added up, you wanna break it with a ton of heart. No, we're not gonna stop, never gonna rock with the ill desire. Keeping the crowd, don't try with a good time. Never gonna stop unless with fire. Hiya is how we fire when we tie up the white curtain.
Earth's gift to the universe, I think, is the gift of life. I think life is the most amazing thing we see. It is just incredible. And we human beings are uniquely positioned to help spread life from this little tiny planet, which it seems to have been started on, beyond.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 3 of the OWT Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Phillips, and we've got a real exciting episode. In my first podcast, I had stated I wanted people to start writing in questions, sending in scenarios, anything like that, any kind of concerns or anything that they're really interested in. And basically, I got one from the drummer from the band who played the intro. He's a drummer for The First Degree. He used to play around with Seven Nations and go on tour with those guys, but he's a phenomenal drummer. His name's Angelo Crisco Maselli. And to start it off, he says, first off, congrats on in the running for Mars One. My first question is, you stated that you have a strict diet to help you in getting acclimated to what might be available to you on Mars. What kind of workouts or active physical preparations are you planning on dealing with the harsh conditions there? I'm not real familiar with the conditions. I'm not real familiar with what the conditions are like on Mars, but I am fairly sure it's not the same as here on Earth. For example, will your diving background and abilities be advantageous to you? If so, what parts of these abilities do you see helping you on such a foreign terrain? Thanks. Well, thank you, Crisco, and I'm really glad you wrote in, and I'm really excited about this question. And we're going to start it off by talking about the gravity on Mars, atmosphere, weather, and a bunch of real tight-knit information about what's actually happening on the red planet. All right, so Mars is similar to Earth in all factors that determine the gravity of the planet: mass, density, and size. Gravity on Mars is 62% lower than on Earth. So basically a 220-pound male is going to be roughly about 84 pounds on Mars. And now, is the travel time and living in zero G and any kind of bone deterioration going to affect any kind of super abilities while you're on Mars? That's one of the questions I have. Like when, after you go through all that fatigue from zero G and you get on the red planet, are you going to be able to do space bounds like in that movie John Carter, where he's a human, just practically a superhuman compared to the aliens that have lived there their whole lives? So I'm real interested to see what kind of answers that any kind of scientists or NASA have about that, as well as was it in Red Planet? They take a leak on the planet and their piss streams are just shooting straight up in the air, and that is about the only reference they made to any kind of gravity differential in that movie. All right, Mars atmosphere. Mars's atmospheric mass is 25 teratons compared to Earth's 5,148 teratons. A teraton is roughly 1 trillion tons. Basically less than 100th of Earth's atmosphere. So to fly a traditional Earth plane on Mars, you would have to be going up to about 250 miles an hour just to stay aloft. And now they're doing all kinds of experiments with the Mars plane, and they're all these engineers have gotten together. They're putting together schematics, and they're basically saying the wingspan would have to be so massive and so big, and it'd have to be out of an extremely light yet durable material. So if they're trying to make it out of any kind of fiberglass or any kind of composite like that, it would have to be able to withstand any kind of weather, adversities that Mars can throw at it, because it can kick up some serious dust and rock storms that would damage the plane and cause complete failure of any kind of flight. So that's pretty much what you're dealing with the Mars atmosphere. And also it's another concern with why you're not able to breathe there. And a lot of people, like you look at Total Recall, that he plunges the original Arnold Schwarzenegger one. He plunges the heating rods into the ice formations that's underneath the surface, and then that causes steam, which creates atmosphere, and everybody can breathe. And it only took him, like a couple minutes before Arnold's eyes popped out. A little bit dramatic there, but probably the best scene in the whole movie is seeing the fake Arnold's eyes pop out. All right, Mars terrain. Reddish color canyons, riverbeds, and craters. Valles Marineris is the deepest valley at 36,000 feet, and that's that huge rift that you can see cutting through Mars on all the pictures. It's kind of what makes it, it's staple picture of what you imagine Mars as you see this big gash going through there. And, some people theorize that was, part of what caused the big, the death of Mars and the fleeing of any other alien races that was there, whether it was, alien-made catastrophe or some kind of planetary, fault that had happened. So that's always fun. You can go on YouTube and for hours and look up all kinds of mystery things that deal with aliens and whatnot. They can be fun, but are they real? We don't know. Maybe we can go there and find some damn pyramids. Who knows? Olympus Mons is the largest volcano at 4,350 feet. It looks like a gnarly, just big pimple just sticking up there. And I got this really cool app on my iPhone, and you can take tours of Mars just by swiping your thumb back and forth. And you can look at where all the rovers and landers are. You can find all the terrain and geographical locations. It's a really cool app. So definitely go and try and find any kind of fun apps that you can really search around and get to know Mars a little bit better. All right. Now, another part of the question, he was asking about my diet and what I was doing to prepare for life on Mars, or basically get myself prepared for a long journey through space and zero gravity. My diet is mainly consisted of I'm getting heavy on omegas, eating more fish. I'm eating chicken, but I'm trying to keep it organic. I'm not eating those Franken chickens where the breast is like that thick. When they get that big, it's just not natural, and they're juicing them up, and they're not even, they can barely call them chicken anymore. It's ridiculous. So I'm trying to get some of the best source foods that I can, as well as, my produce and anything like that. So I've been doing a lot of blending. I've been shedding weight like crazy because of the amount of super greens and berries, fruits, seeds, anything like that. I'm really big into incorporating strawberries, oranges, mangoes, blackberries, dark cherries, banana, kale, collard greens, spinach, and flax seeds, like those combinations. And I also have a digital book called The Flavor Bible, and that's really helping me out with getting my flavor pairing down to where they're not god-awful tasting. You can actually drink these and enjoy them, and they just don't taste nearly as bad as if you were to just wing it and just combine a bunch of junk into a blender. So you want to have that good satisfaction of your flavor palette in order to make it a sustainable diet. And I've been enjoying it. It's been the easiest, most fun diet I've ever been on. I'm sticking to it with no problem. It's really helping out, and I feel energized. My body feels better when I work out. I don't feel nearly the drag that I do when I'm eating a bunch of junk and processed flours and all that stuff. What else? Reducing processed flours, corn, sweets, and excessive dairy. Now, I've also, if any of my friends out there, they know me, they know that I have a serious addiction to pizza. And it was getting bad from time to time. I would go on it, go off it. It was just sheer laziness. You can call up a guy, he comes right to your house, brings you this processed flour, overly processed cheese, horribly, procured meats, and just basically nutriently dead vegetables. So you're not really getting anything but just some fuel in your belly and a bunch of gut rot. So I've kicked out pizza, Red Bull, getting away from any Ben and Jerry's ice creams. I can take down a pint a night if I don't watch myself. So I've had to get rid of that. And also, like I said, I'm on the wagon. I've cut booze and beer out. Beer's got so much wheat and gluten and all these processed carbs and everything like that once you kick some of that out of your diet, you're looking pretty good. So I've been shedding the weight and working out. Some of my workouts consist of, I'm a big fan of the kettlebells. I've been swinging those around. My shoulders are kind of defunct and, genetically, and I've also been real hard on them through salvage and, extreme sports, wakeboarding, anything like that. I definitely have been real hard on my shoulders. So the kettlebells, I'm trying to build up my core, build up all the tendons and tight muscles around all my joints. I think that's going to be really important in the long run. I'm not really trying to kill myself with like P90X or what's that other one? CrossFit. I mean, great workouts. My buddy, he's doing CrossFit and he looks freaking stellar, but I just don't want to be too hard on my joints for the long run. And I definitely want to stay away from crash diets, anything like that. I've been riding my bicycle for a lot of cardio, trying to cut out the running for the high impact on the joints. Motorcycle, I ride my motorcycle as much as I can. It's really good for the balance and all your tight muscles and your core muscles. MMA, calisthenics, I've got restriction bands, and I studied martial arts for years, so I kind of know a lot of really good technique and good movement. And I'm getting ready to join a new gym. It's a jiu-jitsu MMA gym, and I'm really excited. I've been wanting to get back into some sort of martial art, and jiu-jitsu is a really good one because it teaches you about geometry, leverage, physics, human anatomy, all kinds of stuff like that, while you're also getting one-on-one sparring time and, feeling the weight of another person. It's great for practical self-defense, as well as, competitions are really, high. These days, it's easy to get into something like that, and I'm really excited about trying to get into some more martial arts. As far as the diving related stuff, most of the diving I did during my career, it was a lot of zero visibility diving, which is basically you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. It was that murky, that cloudy. Even with a headlamp on, like you could not even see what was going on in front of you. High current, did a lot of high current diving, so you're dealing with a lot of adversity. You're in cumbersome equipment, constantly trying to work. A lot of times you have very limited bottom times. We did a hard hat umbilical diving, so you typically had as much air was available to you, so you could, a lot of times you were huffing and puffing, breathing really hard, so you didn't want to have to worry about scuba, like running your tanks down, anything like that. But in that high current stuff, especially with zero vis, and it's just loads of adversity to deal with. You're trying to get down there, accomplish a job. You got someone on comms, your supervisor barking at you, really crawling up your ass. Just, you got to get stuff done. So I think that is going to be a great attribute for me. I've already experienced a lot of those high stress moments of where I need to get in and get out and really get the job done. Climbing around shipwrecks and above and below water. So even underwater, I'm having all kinds of gear. Above water, I'll have to use sometimes SCBAs and all kinds of cumbersome equipment. On level ground, like these ships will be on their sides, anywhere from 90 degrees to 20 to 10 degrees off normal walking plane. And when you're working like that day in, day out, and even actually living on some of the ships at times, it's really hard on your joints and your bones, and you got to climb around, and you got to be a monkey, pretty much. That's why I like the term salvage monkey. I use that all the time. It's my PlayStation 3 handle, soon to be my PlayStation 4. Suck it, Xbox. You got to adapt to multiple new tasks and every job while applying familiar yet unfamiliar techniques. You can use one technique on one job, and you can have the same tools and everything like that, but you have to apply them completely different in a completely different environment or background. So I've been forced into those types of scenarios many, many times. I've very rarely used the same piece of equipment, especially the bigger and heavier the piece of equipment. I very rarely have used the same piece of equipment for the same exact outcome. It's always adapt and overcome. And, when you're also working with some of the top-notch salvage guys and engineers out there, it makes it a really interesting and fun because you come up with some real MacGyver-type shit to do. Operating multiple types of equipment and machinery, forklifts, extendable boom fork trucks, shipyard, cranes, anything like that. I've just been thrown into the mix. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get the job done. A lot of people are tied up in other jobs, and you got to adapt very quickly. So I've had to learn to be on the fly on the regular basis. And also dealing with native weather, whether it be underwater, on the surface, and also language barriers. I mean, you travel around the world, and also in the Mars One program, we're going to be dealing with multiple nations at times, and you have to be patient and also be thorough with your verbiage. So I think once you get into those types of measures, it's just another thing to throw onto the pile. And it's also another thing that's going to help me in the long run for the Mars One application process. Well, I tell you what, that was a good bit of information right there, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to leave you with my boy Holotech. I'm out of here.
Life's nothing but a car chase, but to get to pick your own pace. How about me? I'm in the fast lane, speed you couldn't fathom or maintain. You couldn't even begin to explain how I be levitating like David Blaine. Is this for real or an illusion? Makes no difference to me, cause no one can stop me doing what I'm doing. And with the sunset